Shut up and sit down.
What's the story, Internet?
Shut up and sit down.
What's the story, Internet? Hope everyone is having a wonderful day so far. As promised, here is the review of the weekend's football. Got a bit more time to sit and have a chat with you all. So we went through the first leg of the Champions League today. Not going to touch on that. We're looking even further in the past. So going over to La Liga first off, just because there was a little bit of a shock result over there. The main shock that I'm talking about is Atletico Madrid 1, Real Betis 1. So with that result, it means that they are currently only 1 point ahead at the top of the table. Now, who are they 1 point ahead of? Well, if we look at the other result, El Clásico, Real Madrid won 2-1. So Real Madrid are currently in second, only 1 point behind their Madrid rivals. So fantastic day, fantastic weekend for Real Madrid. And it opens up La Liga. It just wide open. So if we look at the top of the table, Atletico Madrid are on 67, Real Madrid are on 66, Barcelona are on 65. Even Sevilla have 61 points. So they're not completely out of it either. They're only 6 points clear behind of Atletico Madrid. So all to play for in La Liga at the moment. Going over to the Serie A, let's see if there were any shocks over there. Juventus won 3-1 against Genoa, so nothing to be surprised of there. Inter Milan won 1-0 against Cagliari, just getting the job done, thanks to Matteo Darmian, ex-Manchester United player. And then AC Milan beating Parma 3-1. So everything pretty much stays the same in the table there. Inter Milan still 11 points clear, AC Milan in second on 63, and then Juventus in third on 62. Atalanta on 61 and Napoli on 59. So it's all very close with the exception of Inter, who are just running away with it. So, and then moving over to the Bundesliga, there was a shock result over there this weekend. Union Berlin won, Bayern Munich won. Now, this doesn't have too many ramifications in the table at the moment, as Bayern Munich are still 5 points clear of Leipzig. However, if this sets dominoes in action, this could be the opportunity for Leipzig to catch up again. So, can they close the gap? Looking at the weekend, Bayern Munich have Wolfsburg, who only narrowly lost to Eintracht Frankfurt over the weekend 4-3, and who are in third. So, if Wolfsburg wins, not only will that help Wolfsburg, but it'll help Leipzig, and it'll destroy the confidence of Bayern Munich that they had for such a long time. And it'll blow Bundesliga wide open. So, just having a quick look at Ligue 1, just to see if anything changed over there. Nope, Lille are still 3 points clear. PSG did win, but so did Lille, so it didn't change anything over there. Lille won 2-0 against Metz. So, moving over to the Premier League. Exciting weekend of Premier League football. On Friday, we had Wolves win 1-0 at Fulham, thanks to a Adama Traore in the 92nd minute heartbreak for Fulham, who had 14 shots to Wolves' 7, only 3 on target for both, but absolute heartbreak for Fulham, especially because of Newcastle's result, which we'll get to later, but 6 points behind Newcastle now, 7 points behind Burnley and Brighton. It's not looking good for Fulham. And then if you look at West Brom, they're only 2 points behind now. So, but we will get to those later. Moving on to Saturday, Manchester City 1, Leeds United 2. Craziness for the league. Stuart Dallas, 2 shots, 2 goals. Couldn't ask for more, really. 91st minute was the winner. And that was even with 10 men, Liam Cooper getting sent off in the 46th minute. So yeah, City, 29 shots, 7 on target, 72% possession. Leeds, 2 shots, 2 on target, 28% possession, 2-1. Doesn't matter how many shots you take, it's how many go in the back of the net. So Those 2 shots, both on target, both in the back of the net. Doesn't matter that City had 29 on target, only one of them ended up in the back of the net. So I will get to what that means for the top of the table when we talk about Manchester United's result in a moment. Liverpool 2, Aston Villa 1. Thanks to Trent Alexander-Arnold in the 91st minute. Aston Villa were in the lead from the 43rd minute thanks to Ollie Watkins, and then Mohamed Salah getting the equaliser. Liverpool did dominate the match, 23 shots, 10 on target, 67% possession. Aston Villa had 9, 5 and 33% possession, so nothing to be sniffed at. It puts Liverpool in 6th, 3 points above of Tottenham, 4 points ahead of Everton. Aston Villa are in 11th. They're pretty comfortable where they are, probably going to finish mid-table. There's always the opportunity that they could go on a late season rise, but I think they're going to finish around the sort of 8th to 12th sort of area. So Crystal Palace 1, Chelsea 4. Not particularly surprising, that one. Crystal Palace had been performing well in recent weeks. So they could have got a result against Chelsea, but Chelsea under Thomas Tuchel were just a different kettle of fish. Crystal Palace only had 1 shot, 1 on target, 35% possession. Chelsea had 23 shots and 10 on target. Kai Havertz, Christian Pulisic scoring 2, and then Kurt Zouma. Sounded like, from all reports I've heard, that Kai Havertz was the one pulling the strings, which is what Chelsea fans wanted to see when he came in the summer, and he just hasn't hit the ground running. Maybe this is the game that starts the engine, and maybe this is the game where he just propels forward and does the business for Chelsea. We'll have to see. Moving on to the next match, Burnley 1, Newcastle 2. Disappointing result for Burnley. They were in the lead thanks to Matteo Vidra, but then Jacob Murphy and Alan St-Maximin getting Newcastle the result against Burnley. Burnley had 24 shots, but only 4 of them on target. They had the possession, 58 to 42. Newcastle had 10 shots and 5 on target, but as I said in the Leeds match, it's about the shots that you put in the back of the net. It doesn't matter how many shots you take. You could have shots going into Rose Ed all day long. It's not going to make any difference. So that leaves Newcastle only 1 point behind Burnley. As I said earlier when talking about Fulham, they are 6 points ahead of Fulham. So good result for Newcastle, because they were slowly being sucked into that relegation zone. Not in the clear yet, but it was a very positive result for them. So moving on to the next one. West Ham 3, Leicester City 2. Very disappointing result for Leicester City. Jesse Lingard just continues his incredible scoring run. Scores 2 goals, and Jared Bowen gets the third. Leicester City were pulling back with Kelechi Iheanacho. He scored in the 70th and the 91st minute, but at the end of the day, it was Jesse Lingard that stole the show. So 4 shots, all on target, 36% possession. That's all that West Ham needed. 15 shots for Leicester, 5 on target, 64% possession. It does mean that they are now 7 points behind Manchester United, only 1 point ahead of West Ham. So West Ham could leapfrog Leicester depending on results. And it also means that Leicester are in danger of falling out of the top 4, because they are now only 2 points ahead of Chelsea, 4 points ahead of Liverpool. Not looking good for Leicester. They were on such a positive spell as well, and they've been knocked off their axis. Moving on to the next match. Big match in the Premier League of the weekend was Manchester United against Tottenham. Tottenham 1, Manchester United 3. Bit of controversy involving Heung-min Son. Edinson Cavani scored in the first half, and it was ruled out for Scott McTominay supposedly hitting Heung-min Son. Full bias, I don't think it was a foul. Don't think it should have been disallowed, and the fact that it was disallowed was disgraceful. VAR should have picked it up, but even with VAR, the referee still decided to give it as a free kick and disallow the goal. And then not even 3 minutes later, Heung-min Son runs up the other end and scores a goal. So justice was served in the end because Manchester United won. But what if it had stayed 1-0 to Tottenham? There would be absolute uproar right now, especially with what it would have meant in the table. Speaking of what it means in the table, Manchester United are now only 11 points behind City with a game in hand. So if that game in hand goes our way, it means that we will be 8 points behind them. Interesting statistic, and I'm not going to get my hopes up, but in 2012, same time, Manchester City were on the same amount of games, 8 points behind Manchester United. Manchester United let it slip, leading to the Aguero moment that I wake up with cold sweats 9 years later. Will it happen to City? I'm not saying it will. I'm just saying the parallels are there. And with what happened against Leeds on Saturday, could that be the catalyst that knocks them? And depending on what happens in Germany against Dortmund tomorrow, both of those together, if they lose against Dortmund, I'm just saying, possibility. So, moving on to the next match, Sheffield United 0, Arsenal 3, unfortunately unsurprising. Sheffield United weren't completely out of it. They had 7 shots, 2 on target, 45% possession, but Arsenal with their 14 shots, 5 on target. Alexandre Lacazette scoring twice, and Gabriel Martinelli getting on the score sheet as well, so good for the young Brazilian there. Arsenal are level on points with Leeds, only 3 points behind Everton, 4 points behind their North London rivals Tottenham, and they are 7 points behind Liverpool. So they're not completely out of the realms of Europe, but it's pretty much over for them unless they win the Europa League. So moving on to today, West Brom 3, Southampton 0. That means that West Brom have scored 8 goals in their last 2 matches and only conceded 2, and those 2 were against Chelsea. So what a run Big Sam's men are on at the minute. Mateus Pereira, Matt Phillips and Callum Robinson getting on the score sheet. A relatively even match. Possession was in Southampton's favour, 61 to 39. 15 shots for West Brom, 14 to Southampton. 6 on target to West Brom, 4 on target for Southampton. As I mentioned earlier, this puts West Brom 2 points behind Fulham with a game in hand though. So if they win, they could leapfrog. And if they did win, that would put them 5 points behind Newcastle. So it's all very close at the bottom there. Steve Bruce's Newcastle haven't been the most steady of teams at the moment, so the possibility is there. So same with Brighton. They've not been the most constant, and Burnley have had their wobbles. Look at what happened against Newcastle. So still anyone's game at the bottom, with the exception of Sheffield United, unfortunately. They are pretty much out, I think. So, and then moving on to the last match, not a lot to talk about. Brighton 0, Everton 0. Brighton with 23 shots, only 3 on target, 56% possession. Everton with 8 shots, only 1 on target. Not good for Everton. As I mentioned before, they have dropped into 8th. They are 1 point behind Tottenham, 4 points behind Liverpool, with a game in hand though. So we'll see where that game in hand takes them. So that is my roundup of the Premier League for this weekend. Very, very exciting weekend. Had some upsets, had some important matches at the bottom. Justice for my old Manchester United. So that will do it for me today. I will be back with you on Thursday with a review of the midweek matches, the aforementioned Champions League and Europa League, and also a preview of the weekend's matches. So in the meantime, I hope you're all staying safe, keeping out of trouble. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you all have a wonderful day. And until Thursday, ta-ra for now.